In a nation where power is both prize and poison, the theater of politics never sleeps. Currently, Nigeria stands again at the crossroads of controversy, conviction, and calculation. I'm Adeawa AI, and this is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. This week, the storm is loud and it's shaking both the corridors of power and the conscience of the people. First, outrage ripples across the nation as a minister in the president's cabinet stands accused of certificate forgery. We call this an old ghost in Nigeria's political closet: credentials, credibility, and conscience. And as the public fumes, one voice rises in sober reflection. Peter Obi, the former Labour candidate, weighs in, urging truth, transparency, and trust. Three things many may say are missing in Nigeria's political bloodstream. But as one storm brews, another begins to thunder. Adams Oshiomhole, former APC chairman, is on a political war path, declaring that the South-South is now firmly in the APC fold. His words are bold, his tone battle-ready. He says, "We will defeat Jonathan if he contests." Then quickly adds, "Only Jonathan's enemies will urge him to run." Double-speak or strategic wisdom, because the same old Oshiomhole insists that Tinubu will defeat Atiku and Obi again. So the question is, Nigeria, are we witnessing a rebirth of political order or the recycling of familiar chaos? And as the heat of 2027 draws near, where does the truth actually lie? In certificates or in the character of those who are actually holding these certificates? Join us shortly as we uncover the power play, decode the political theater, and ask the questions the powerful would rather not ask. This is Viewpoint. You're welcome back to the show. Now, yet another scandal, another forgery, another betrayal of trust. The nation wakes up once again to the stench of political dishonesty. Now, this time from the very heart of President Tinubu's cabinet. The Minister of Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, is under fire, currently being accused, not by rumor, but by a painstaking 2-year investigation from Premium Times, of forging the credentials he presented to the president, to the Senate, and also to the Nigerian people. Forged degree, forged NYSC certificate, and now a forged reputation exposed. This revelation is not just about one man, it's about the rot in our system, a political culture that rewards connections over competence, and where take a bow and go has replaced scrutiny and accountability. Now, for 2 long years, Premium Times followed the paper trail, and the trail led straight to deception. The University of Nigeria, Nsukka, never issued the degree. The NYSC never gave the discharge certificate. Yet somehow those papers sat in the minister's files, got to the president's desk, and were waved through the Senate's chambers. Now you tell me, Nigeria, how does a man walk through all these gates of power with forged documents and no one noticed, or perhaps no one wanted to notice? The outrage has been thunderous. On Facebook, Uche has said silence is not golden. On X, Kayode Abraham calls it a proof that criminals now run our ministries. Another user, Brendan Champion, a real UNN graduate, fumes, "I can't be hustling with my original certificates while a fake one opens doors to billions." And Dayo Ayeto, founder of the International Center of Investigative Reporting, didn't mince words. "This isn't a mistake, it's a criminal deception." He demanded not just dismissal, but arrest and prosecution. Now, the question is, will there be a consequence, or will there be consequences, or will this be scandal, or some scandal, like so many before it, will simply fade away into Nigeria's vast archive of forgotten corruptions? Let's be honest, this is not new. From ministers to governors, even to presidents, the ghost of certificate forgery has haunted Nigerian politics for decades. It is the clearest symbol of a system that prizes power over principle, influence over integrity. When people can lie their way into public office and keep those offices, what message are we actually sending to the next generation? That honesty is for the poor, that merit is a myth. Science and technology, a ministry meant to drive innovation and national progress, is now overshadowed by the fraud of its leaders. How does a nation innovate when deceit drives the policy wheel? Uche Nnaji's scandal is not just a story of forgery. It's a mirror held up in the face of a wounded nation, a nation where Senate screenings have become ceremonies of convenience, a nation where integrity is optional and accountability is negotiable. But every forgery is a betrayal, not just a paper, but of people. And until government proves that no one is above the law, until the powerful are prosecuted the same way the powerless are prosecuted, Nigeria's democracy will remain but not a system of truth, but a theater of fraud. Will this be another case buried under the weight of impunity, or will justice for once take its rightful bow? Wow. Now, still on the certificate forgery, the echoes of outrage grow louder as the Minister of Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, stands accused of forging his university degree and NYSC certificate. But what makes the story even more compelling is the voice that has now joined the national chorus of condemnation, Peter Obi, the 2023 Labour candidate for the presidential elections. And as always, his words will cut deep, not just into the scandal itself, but into the decaying soul of Nigeria that keeps forgiving crime and punishing conscience. Now, let's rewind. Uche Nnaji, minister under the Bola Tinubu administration, is facing damning allegations. Premium Times investigations uncovered that the certificates he presented, a supposed degree from Nsukka, University of Nigeria, and the NYSC teacher certificates were actually forged. Still, the Senate in 2023 confirmed his nomination, no scrutiny, no verification, just the usual ceremony of take a bow and go. And now Peter Obi, a man who campaigned on integrity and accountability, is saying what many Nigerians have long whispered: Nigeria has become a crime scene. Now, in his statement, Peter Obi didn't just react, he redefined the conversation. He said, and I quote, "How do you tell young Nigerians to be honest and upright when those they are supposed to emulate are the least to be emulated because they are criminals and they are dishonest?" Now, that question is more than rhetoric. It's a national indictment, because what Peter Obi is pointing out is a system where dishonesty is not punished, it's promoted. A country where forgery, bribery, and deception are not qualifiers, they are qualifications. He calls certificate forgery what it truly is, a serious criminal offense, and one that when leaders fake credentials, they fake policies, they fake progress, and ultimately they fake democracy itself. Now, Obi didn't stop at outrage. He offered solutions. He channeled the Independent National Electoral Commission, accusing it of looking at the other way whenever questions of forgery arise. And frankly speaking, he might be right. INEC's failure to properly scrutinize candidates' documents before elections has created a revolving door for deceit. When citizens complain, INEC looks the other way. When they go to court, the judges dismiss it as a pre-election matter. And when the dust settles, the same people with the same fake documents take the oath of office with the same national anthem they've already betrayed. Obi is actually saying it's enough. He wants reforms that make certificate verifications mandatory 6 months before elections. He wants all academic documents published publicly for citizens to verify, because, as he puts it, when dishonesty starts from the top, it spreads to every level of governance down to the grassroots. That, my friends, is the crux of Nigerian political sickness. So as the scandal of forgery drags the name of another public official into disrepute, Peter Obi's words echo like a national conscience crying into the wilderness, because this is not just about one minister, it's about a nation at war with truth. It's about a society where morality has been replaced by manipulation and power has become, like I said, prize or deceit. Certificate forgery is not paperwork error, it's a declaration of fraud, and every time the system overlooks it, Nigeria sinks deeper into the swamp of moral bankruptcy. We take a break now, but when we return, it's all about the Oshiomhole storm. The former APC national chairman is back in the headlines, boldly declaring that the South-South is now the APC territory, insisting we'll defeat Jonathan if he contests, and even doubling down that Tinubu will defeat Atiku and Obi again. Join us shortly. You're welcome back to the show. Now, politics in Nigeria never sleeps, and this week, Senator Adams Oshiomhole woke the nation up with a political bombshell. Speaking on Sunday politics, the former APC national chairman declared with his usual confidence that the South-South is now APC. And that is directed to the former president Goodluck Jonathan, daring him to return to the ring in 2027. The All Progressives Congress will defeat him flatly, according to him. A bold claim, a strategic boost either way. Oshiomole's words have sparked a firestorm, reopening old wounds and reigniting new debates, and once again reminding Nigerians that 2027 is not far away as it seems. Now let's unpack it. Oshiomhole didn't just say Jonathan will lose. He dismissed the idea entirely. According to him, only Jonathan's enemies will push him to contest. Now think about that. A man once defeated by the APC in 2015, now being told that even his home region, the South-South region, is no longer his base. For Oshiomhole, the PDP stronghold has crumbled. The tide has turned, and Tinubu's APC is now the dominant factor or force in the Niger Delta. But is that the truth or just political theater? Because for many, Oshiomole's confidence sounds less like political analysis and more like a warning shot aimed at any talk of the Jonathan comeback. Taking a step back, since 2015, Goodluck Jonathan has carefully rebuilt his image, no longer that man who lost an election, but as an elder statesman who saved democracy with just one phone call when he said, "My ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian." He wrote himself into the moral conscience of the country at large. Even globally speaking, Oshiomhole actually acknowledged that, praising Jonathan for his concession and urging him to maintain his global stature. But in politics, praise often hides a challenge, because beneath these polite words lies a message: stay retired or risk humiliation. Now, I want to believe Oshiomhole knows the weight of this narrative. He's not just shaping an opinion here also. He's trying to define the 2027 battlefield early enough. And in his narrative script, Tinubu is the incumbent titan. Jonathan is a former hero, and the South-South, once the PDP fortress, is now under the management of the APC. But let's ask the real question. Has the South-South truly shifted in 2023? Despite APC's national victory, the cross-carpeting, the PDP and the Labour Party still held sway, if we remember, across the key sector or key states in the South-South. We're talking Rivers, Delta, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, and of course, Edo states. Oshiomole's own backyard at the time when the PDP still flew the flag under Obaseki. So when Oshiomhole says the South-South is now APC, he's not stating a fact. He might be selling a vision that the ruling party wants to plant deep before 2027, that even the old PDP heartland has embraced the broom. But Nigerian politics isn't about geography alone. It's about emotion, memory, and muscle. Jonathan still carries emotional capital, but a symbol of calm leadership also in turbulent times. Yet, emotion doesn't always win elections. Money, machinery, and momentum often do. And on those three fronts, Oshiomole's APC is making a calculated boost. Not out of arrogance, but out of early political positioning. Oshiomole's statement is more than bravado. It's a battle cry, a reminder that 2027 will be about sentiment but strategy. That the old political giants from the South-South to the North must decide whether they want to relive the past or redefine the future. For Jonathan, the message is clear. You've earned your peace. Don't gamble it. For Tinubu's APC, the message is also clear, probably louder. The South-South must no longer be an opposition zone. But for Nigerians, the deeper question remains: when politicians boast of defeating each other, who truly wins? Because while they count votes, Nigerians are still counting the cost of governance. Now, still on Oshiomhole and the 2027 build-up, the former Edo State governor and Labour leader turned politician, tactician also, threw a grenade again into the 2027 political conversation. Still on Sunday politics, Oshiomhole declared without hesitation that President Bola Tinubu outrightly defeat Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi again if they came together to join forces. His words, of course, were bold again, almost taunting. They ran together, they got defeated. They ran separately and they still got defeated. If they still come back together on a coalition note, very good, they will still also be defeated. Now, these were strong phrases or statements, but beneath this confidence lies a deep political calculation and a not so subtle message to Nigeria's opposition. The APC is not afraid, undoubtedly. Now let's rewind. Rumors have been swelling or making the rounds that Atiku Abubakar, the perennial presidential hopeful, and Peter Obi, the rising force of the Labour Party, are considering a merger, perhaps under the ADC, the African Democratic Congress, to form a united front in 2027. For many Nigerians, that idea sparks curiosity, even hope. Could a united opposition finally unseat the ruling APC, or could the Atiku-Obi alliance rewrite the narrative that ended the defeats in 2019 and 2023? Oshiomole's answer is a resounding no, not because he underestimates them, but because he believes Tinubu's political machinery is simply unbeatable, well-funded, well-rooted, and well-prepared. But let's look beyond the sound bites. Oshiomhole isn't just speaking for himself. He's echoing the confidence of an administration that believes power, once captured, can be consolidated. In 2019, Atiku and Obi on a joint PDP ticket were defeated by Muhammad Buhari, who ran, of course, under the APC. In 2023, they ran separately, Atiku under the PDP, Obi under the Labour Party, and once again, Tinubu triumphed from the APC again. So looking at it analytically speaking, Oshiomole's argument is mathematical. Defeated together, defeated apart, and the outcome will still be the same yet still. But politics isn't about arithmetic alone, it's also about chemistry. And in 2027, the chemistry will be between Nigeria's disenchanted youth, the economic's free fall, and a restless middle class, which could be the game changer. If Atiku and Obi truly unite, not just in name, but in a vision, they could create a moral momentum that challenges the APC's political muscle or stance. But the question is, will they actually reunite? Because history tells us Nigeria's opposition parties are great at forming alliances and even greater at destroying them. Oshiomole's stunt is not random, it's strategic. He's poking at the cracks between Atiku's experience and Obi's youth appeal, between PDP structure and Labour's movement. He knows that unity requires sacrifice, and in Nigeria's politics, ego often outweighs strategy. Who would lead us with such a ticket? Atiku, the veteran who believes it's finally his turn, or Obi, the man who many see as the face of a generational shift? Until that question is answered, Oshiomole's prophecy will continue to stand, not because it's inevitable, but because it's a probably practical issue. An opposition divided by ambition will always fall to a ruling party united by interest. But beyond the politics of prediction lies a bigger story, the story of Nigeria's democracy itself, a democracy where elections are becoming less about ideas and more about itinerary, where those powers boast of victory before the race even begins, and the opposition even keeps fighting old battles with new slogans. Oshiomhole may be confident, but confidence is not destiny. The real question for 2027 is not whether Tinubu can win again, it's whether Nigerians will still believe the system that decides who wins. Because if the people no longer trust the ballots, then even in victory, there's a hollow issue. And if the opposition cannot rise above its fractures, then Oshiomole's laughter might echo well into the next election. So yes, APC may have the numbers, the structure, and even the state power, but the opposition still holds something even greater, the possibility of change. The question is, will they seize it or surrender to history? Now, on a conclusive note, we draw the curtains on Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue in a nation where truth wrestles with power and power often rewrites the truth. From Outrage over to Minister's certificate to Peter Obi's fiery reaction calling out a system that rewards deceit, to Oshiomole's bold declaration over the South-South, now an APC region, to his unshaken confidence that Tinubu will defeat Atiku and Obi. So as the drama unfolds, one thing is certain: in Nigeria's political theater, the next act is always louder than the last. I've been your host, Odiawa AI. Thanks for watching.